quick introduction, and we'll just, give a quick introduction about yourself and what art, young artist programs you've been a part of.
Okay. I can go. I don't mind jumping in there. Hi, I'm Whitney Morrison, and I'm a recent alum of the Ryan Opera Center at the Lyric Opera of Chicago. Is that all you need?
Hey everyone, I'm Brittany Graham. I recently finished up as an apprentice artist at Sarasota Opera and was previously at Opera Theater St. Louis and a young artist at the St. Louis Symphony.
Hi, my name is Maia Athey, and this summer I finished my second season with the Glimmerglass Festival, and I'm currently in my second season with Minnesota Opera.
Hi, I'm Maia Journeau, and I just finished my undergrad at Queen's University in Canada, and I was supposed to be singing at a young artist program this summer in Canada, but COVID, but yeah.
Thank you all so much for those brief introductions. It's so great. Y'all are awesome singing singers, so I'm so glad to have y'all here to talk about young artist programs. And I think one of the things that people really want to know is what are the benefits and the outcomes from young artist programs? Like, what should they expect when they enter into a young artist program?
Well, I'll go. I think the benefits and outcomes for personally for me were that I was able to be immersed in music just wholeheartedly in a way that I was not before due to going to school and working, just having real life happen as well as trying to start a career and further a career. So finally being able to take that time and go to a young artist program and be able to work on music every day and have amazing colleagues and things like that. I thought that was amazing. And you get some experiences and you learn some things that you would never learn at a university or conservatory. So I think that's really important and also being prepared, make sure you're prepared.
Yeah, benefits from a young artist program. One, if you're blessed, like I am, you gain mentors and collaborators that you get to know very well and who get to know you very well, and those relationships, if nurtured well, can last far beyond your time at the program. You also get to build your resume. I mean, especially at the Lyric, I was able to understudy many roles, so I've been able to build my repertoire and my resume, but I also was on stage quite a bit there as well, and so that helps. Honestly, like Brittany said, it's an opportunity for dedication when you are making a living being a singer, and that is, and you're salaried. I mean, that doesn't happen often. Often as a singer, it's very helpful to give you a sense of stability while you are being a young artist, which can be very volatile and a time where we lose a lot of artists because it's just hard out of school. So young artist programs are great. You get to build relationships with donors and people you would have never met before. Really interesting people have opportunities to do different things. Like I met Jean McLaren at Lyric, and now I get a chance to work with Girls Inc. of Chicago. I didn't even know about them, but she told me at a fundraiser once, and now we have this great relationship, and I know more about them, and it's a great thing to be a part of. So there are so many things, but other than what has been said, I'll add that.
I would say that you're just thrown into this whirlwind of opera, so coachings and in Glimmerglass, they do 4 main stage operas, so I was in 2 of those, and then at Minnesota Opera, I was in some of their operas before we had to cancel our season because of COVID, and you get to work with other artists that are doing what you hope to do, and you get to talk to them and sort of see how things are for them, and sort of see if this is something that you want, like, or, explore a different rep. And I think the best thing about being a young artist is exploration. I think you really get to find yourself. Like Glimmer Glass last year was my first young artist program, first like debut, first anything professional for me. And I just did everything I could, did all the coachings I could, just gave it like 110%, like every day, just to test the waters and feel things out. And then you find yourself, and then you're meeting so many other different artists, whether they're singers or directors or dancers or production staff, and it's really inspiring.
Since I'm the baby in the group, I can tell already. I mean, for me, because of course, as everyone has said, it's like you're undergrad, you're spending a lot of time studying and doing a lot of other things on top of singing. So having a young artist program is the chance to just dedicate your time solely to your craft, which is fantastic. So I was really, really looking forward to it, and getting one right out of university was like kind of an encouragement that I was like, okay, I'm heading in the right direction. Like, this is great. Like, this is a great start. And then COVID happened, and it was like, oh, okay. But before that, I definitely felt like this was the step forward in making sure that I could get the coaching and the more tools in my toolbox, and anything that may be helpful for me moving forward in pursuing this.
Yeah, it really sounds like you guys learned so much about professionalism and so much about being in the art. It's kind of like an apprenticeship program where you're just kind of like a baby in this art form, and you are ready to face the world once you're finished. So how do you present yourself, your best self, especially when it comes to auditioning and creating the materials that can kind of set you apart to be accepted into these programs? And we can start with Mia.
I would say you got to be true to yourself, and you have to pick. I find now I have to pick for my aria package. It has to be music that I connect with, because if I don't connect with it, I don't know, I just become this robot, and it's it's really bad. But something that really, speaks, to you, and that you can really talk about. And the coolest thing about opera is like nobody knows your inspiration. Like like if I have to sing an aria about falling in love, I love cupcakes. So that's what, is inspiring me. Nobody needs to know that. As long as I tell the story about love, then I did my job. But yeah, I would definitely say, be true to yourself and connection.
Yeah, Whitney, jump on in.
Sure. Well, my answer to this question is twofold. One is, yes, there is a package, but I have to be honest, I would be here lying if I said that cold auditions are the way everyone gets into a program. It's just not true. People have relationships. They hear you in a lot of other places. They look at your resume. And so I would say, remember, okay, remember that these people are casting and they are hiring. This is not a competition. It's not a competition. They are hiring and they are casting. And so I would encourage you to be creative in how you can engage with people who know the people on the panel, with people at the organization, with people at a feeder. If your program you're looking for is taking everybody from Curtis, well, are you in Philadelphia? You know what I'm saying? Like, you get what I'm saying? Like, be honest with yourself. Look at the patterns there, see how other people get there, and get in somebody's studio. Positioning is very key. At the Ryan Center, I was doing a competition in town. And so when I was approached to come and audition, yes, I'll leave it at that. When I was approached to come to audition, they had already heard me. So I will leave it at that. But also in choosing repertoire, like Mia said, there is be mindful, get some people who know the ears that will hear you, right? So along with making sure you're putting your best foot forward and singing things that you feel like you can sing well, also if you know people, oh, I went to school with them, or I just judged this with them, what are their ears like? Because I've had people tell me, oh, so-and-so would not want to hear this. And so they throwing the baby out with the bathwater. And I would have had no idea that this conductor or this coach or this whoever is not even trying to hear that repertoire from you, or, you know what I mean? So be mindful and get help from people that can actually help you. So strategy overall is my response to that question.
Yeah, like Whitney said, it is strategy. It's a marathon. It is not a 100-meter dash, and you have to really take the time to prepare and put your best foot forward. So that doesn't mean picking something that is, no, I mean, sometimes you can pick something new and it works out. Like I've done that before, and then sometimes it doesn't work out. It is a trial and error, and this was the second time I had auditioned for this YAP, and I had gotten it the second time, but the first time I didn't, and I didn't prepare as well, and I learned from that, and I knew, oh, I should position myself in a different place. So even if you don't necessarily get it, if you put your best foot forward, if you did get a lesson, if you did go to the competition over there, researched a bit more and tried to figure out how you could put yourself in the best position for success, even sometimes if you don't get it, at least you can, keep telling and reminding yourself that it's not because you didn't try or you didn't do the right things. It's like sometimes it's just not the right time, and there's another plan in store. And I mean, COVID is that thing for us. It's a huge blockade, and we're all kind of like, okay, what's gonna happen? I don't know. But I think we all have to be patient with ourselves, and it can be in a year, it can be 5 years, it can be 6 months, however it's supposed to work out, and just be patient with the process and be kind to yourself. That I have that problem a lot, like to be patient and kind with myself and picking the stuff that I know I can walk out there and feel confident and like I can rock it, even if some days you don't feel as great, but you could walk in there and be like, oh yeah, I'm gonna rock this thing. And then you go do it. But yeah.
So yes, I agree with basically everything that everyone has stated so far. But also, I just want to say for me, I feel like going into an audition or a recording to always to remember to be yourself as well, to be yourself genuinely. I feel personally like whenever you walk into an audition, like they know when you're not being true to who you are. So whenever you step foot into recording session or just in front of a panel, just remember to be yourself, but also remember to be professional. So like Whitney said, because people are networking, so you may see one person who was on the panelist for your audition for another one. So just always be prepared, have those 6 or 10 arias in rotation that you need for, because different companies, different YAPs and different companies have different requirements. So just make sure you have more than what you need and be overly prepared. So if they're calling for 5, I like to keep at least 7. So sometimes I may I may not feel as well today. So let me switch this one up because I know this aria will always work no matter what, like where I am mentally, physically, emotionally. So that way I can go and perform and just do my best. So I think that's pretty important as well, but also remember networking so that professionalism all can come back as well.
Can I say 2 other things? I know I alluded to this, but know who you're singing for. Like if they provide who you're singing for or who's in the room in general, it's a good idea to know who they are. And if you can get a sense of their taste, it might be helpful. Also, do your best wherever you are. I was singing a local competition that nobody would know the name of if I said it on here unless you're from Chicago. And that's where a lot of the people who needed to hear me heard me for the first time. You know what I mean? And I wasn't heavily coached or whatever, but I was there and I was serious. And so just always, never, don't despise small beginnings. Do your best wherever you go, and you never know who's watching.
I want to piggyback off of what Whitney said. The same exact thing happened to me, which led me to, I was singing in a master class. Nobody knew about it. It was a small remote master class. I wasn't even singing anything big. I was singing like a 2-minute art song. And from that, I got my very first job at an opera company before I even graduated grad school. So just like Whitney said, just make sure you're always singing your best, always prepared, because things like that happen a lot. So I just wanted to just make that clear.
Don't be discouraged if you don't win, because I did not win that competition. And it wasn't until much later that that performance was a seed for something else. So don't be discouraged.
And also, some like Whitney said, winning is not always the end goal. Going in and just knowing, like, some people, it may be totally out of their comfort zone to even do a competition or anything. So like that might just be just a big clap or pat on your back to even do it, but you don't know who's in the audience, and you just never know. So I agree with Whitney.
Yes, thank you so much for that advice. It's just so important to always know that people are watching. They are watching you. They're watching you online. They're watching you when you're singing. They're watching what you put out there. They're looking at your YouTube. I mean, they're looking to see what's going on. So I love the advice that each one of you gave for that. So thinking about the actual environment in a young artist program, I know it can be very new for people, especially coming right out of college. Young artist program is not the same as being in college, but it's also not the same as being a full-on professional. It's like a weird little, I guess, medium. I don't know, not like a purgatory, but like this weird middle space that is important for your development, and it's important for building who you are as an artist. How do you like? How have you guys managed that space? Because it can be challenging, because there's some things that might make you uncomfortable, and there's some things that might make you happy, and there's some things that you're learning along the way. Like, how do you manage, I guess, the emotional roller coaster that goes along with being in a young artist program?
I'll say that it's very important to always protect your peace. Protect your peace. If you have to just take a minute and walk away, please do that. If on your off day you want to stay in bed all day and watch Netflix, please do that. Because like you said, it's not like university where you have a schedule and it's like, oh, I can get maybe an hour here or an hour there. It's all day, usually. And it can be extreme. So you have to really take care of yourself mentally, physically, emotionally. So if that means you have to call your mom all the time, I call my mom all the time. If that means you have to call your mom all the time, or I spoke to my mentors in the opera world a lot, like, okay, how should I handle this, or is this, because and especially as being a Black woman, I feel like there's a delicate line of being assertive, but also without, wanting to come across as the angry Black woman, but also like a line where it's like, okay, is this really worth me even getting upset about or talking about? So you definitely have to protect your peace. Please, 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 please. But also don't let anyone run over you or do anything wrong. You have to, sometimes judgment, you have to call it, but at the end of the day, protect that peace, please.
I want to, oh, you want to go? Okay. I want to piggyback off of what Brittany said, and I love that protect your peace. I just wrote that down. I need to put it on a big poster in my room because I tend to forget to do that a lot. I actually experienced that this summer. Glimmer Glass was virtual and it was wonderful, and I had coachings almost every day. And of course, coachings, the coaches are trying to make you a better singer. So they're going to stop you and keep, nitpicking, which is their job. And it can get very, I can get very hard on myself. Like, why am I not getting this? Like, this coach said that yesterday. Why can't I just pick this up? Why am I not, improving that quickly? Then you see everyone else around you like, oh, well, her diction's really good. And then like, oh, my Russian sucks or my German sucks. You're like screaming. And one of my coaches had told me, because I was, freaking out, and he's like, you know what? He said, when this happens, and he's like, it happens to everyone, you just need to walk away and just not sing for a little bit. Go do something different. Netflix was one of his suggestions. And just take a break. It could be an hour, it could be the rest of the day, and not think about it, and then come back to it refreshed. That's definitely something I've learned. Being in my second season with Minnesota Opera and looking back on like how my first season was back when it was normal, I would really be hard on myself a lot. And it's like, I can't do that. Like, my teacher, Gwen Coleman from CCM, used to always tell me, put your blinders on and don't pay attention to anyone else. Like, stay in your lane, worry about your lane. That's all you can control. And be happy for everyone else, but don't like get fixated on it. Yeah.
I would say, first of all, yes, all of that, stay in your lane. Oh, yes. First, one of the things that can be overwhelming is to get a lot of seemingly opposing advice in a very short amount of time. And something I wish someone had told me, I didn't get it right away, but I did talk to one of my colleagues and she was just like, maybe it's all of it. And so it's this idea of yes and, good improv training. When you get something from your coach, okay, yes, and once you're, and that yes and is part of, the coaching session, but it's also part of the next coaching session and the next one where they told you 3 different things. But also, I found it difficult to get all of that input and then somehow take responsibility for what it was that I was doing. I really struggled with that. And so the yes and is also, yes, all of what you're saying, and me on top of it. Am I satisfied with what I'm doing? Because it's easy to feel a little bit like a robot just trying to get it right. And along with protect your peace, take care of yourself. If you can develop a routine that, a morning routine that ends at around 8 or 9, so you can always be at rehearsal for 10 o'clock, I would suggest that that's something I'm still working on, trying to get some sort of something consistent in your life, whether it's exercise or a call to your mom, friends, whatever. I was lucky enough to be at home, so I had a lot of support. So there is that, taking care of yourself. And as far as the difficulty, sometimes there can be some interpersonal issues, right? And there's no need for drama. I was talking to my manager the other day and he's like, well, if you have any issues on a gig, you can let me know. And I'm like, well, why would I do that? You don't even need to know that, because I have the opportunity to pull my colleague aside and say, hey, can I talk to you for a second? And nobody needs to know, and nobody will ever know. When I tell you, I've had to pull more colleagues aside than I would like to admit, but you wouldn't know it. And I have never lost in those relationships. Our relationships have only grown from me being able to be honest and direct and not messy. You know what I mean? Like, have your boundaries and be who you are and be kind and give people a chance.
I also wanted to say that wellness, like self-care and wellness, also go along with putting forth your best self. because like for me, I just believe that, you know, really taking care of yourself, you can go ahead and you don't have anything holding you back whenever you're going to perform, because you really want to communicate with your audience. And if you have all this going on in your head or in your heart, you can't open yourself up and be vulnerable and do what you need to do to create the music, because every opportunity that we step on the stage is the time that we can just communicate and create and be the interpreter of what the composer and the librettist wanted to communicate to the audience. That is our job. So I just also think that, you know, taking care of yourself is very important for putting forth your best self as well.
I feel like I'm learning from y'all. This is great. Even though I didn't get to do my YAP this summer, before, like, I've still had other like experiences or like little intensives and whatnot, but the same thing, it is about wellness and protecting your piece. Like, that's so good. I agree with Mia. It needs to be framed and put everywhere in sight for me. Because I realized, I mean, already as Black women, we already carry enough weight, and it's really difficult to wear the armor in rehearsal all day and think everything is okay, and then get home and you are emotionally exhausted, physically exhausted, and you need the space to let go, but it takes a lot of energy to do so. And if you're singing and protecting yourself all day and then going home and just and like dropping, it's really not healthy. And I've realized that like over time that it's like my energy can't be used that way because I will burn out like really fast. And I had to learn that this summer. And it's been really challenging trying to realize that, oh, like I need to give myself space and time. I do need to call my mentor and have this talk, or give time to myself and step away, because it is a little too much. And if I try to dive in and like say, keep going, I may jump out altogether, and I don't want to go that way. Not right now, at least, because I know I'm so early in the process and I still have so much to learn. So I hope that if anything like happens, it's definitely because it's like, you know what, like I'm ready to step away. It's not like me getting rejected out because I just can't emotionally and physically handle everything. But yeah.
Can I add one other thing? This is something that I didn't get a chance to do, but I wish someone had told me, was to keep practicing. And when I say practicing, I don't mean preparing for the next. You know what I mean? Or, okay, I have to study this because, you know, I'm covering this. Yes, do all of that, but at least 30 minutes of every practice session or of every day, make sure you're continuing to spend time with your own voice outside of lessons, with things that you love to sing outside of your recital prep. And I know it's hard, and I know I'm saying this looking back, I did not do that. I was trying to be prepared for everything. But when I left the program, I was like, I can practice again. Like, you know, like not just prepare, because it's two different types of time spent, and it's always been just kind of under the gun. We did a lot. But now looking back, I could have spent at least the first half hour of every session really low pressure, what's going on, you know, singing something I want to singing, you know, the Italian, you know, 24 Italian art songs, that kind of thing. Being a student again and really finding some time to enjoy your practice. Those are two different activities. And so in as much as you can, find time for that. Or if you're between shows, practice. Don't just prepare your audition repertoire. really practice. Spend 30 minutes on one phrase. You know, like I know we don't have the luxury of that time, but you need to remember that that is what really makes a brilliant artist, is the ability to really engage oneself in the art instead of being under the gun all the time.
I also just kind of wanted to piggyback off of what Whitney said. We are forever students. We never know everything when it comes to this. There's always something new. You can always learn something from someone, whether you think so or not. So just be open and willing, because like we're coming to this panel and we're panelists on this panel, and we're still like, oh, let me write that down. Like, that was good, sis. Like, you know what I mean? So therefore, just always be willing to be a forever student, because we're something so small in this huge world. So there's just so much more to it than us. So I just definitely agree. Be a forever student. And I just really believe that will transform you as an artist, as a person. That's just something that I stuck out with me.
So beautiful what all of you said. It's just so beautiful to just thinking about like how we protect our bodies, how we protect our minds, and how we protect our voices. I think that that's essential when going into a young artist program. It's just like having a strong sense of self and having a strong sense of what your voice is like. For me, I did a program recently, and it was overwhelming initially because I just didn't have that strong sense of self. And I think after gaining time, it's like once I know my voice and I know my brain, I know that I'm intelligent. That's one thing, like Laquita Mitchell says. She says, you're intelligent enough to get this, what I'm trying to tell you. You're intelligent enough to get this technique the way I'm trying to tell it to you. So that's something that I tell myself often, because you're receiving so much information from people you don't know or people you do know. You got to remind yourself of who you are. Like, I'm happy to be here. I know that I can sing, and I'm intelligent enough to get the point that they're trying to get across to me. It might not come immediately, but it will come eventually. So yeah, I think those are some beautiful, beautiful comments on young artist programs. So what I want to ask next is like, what do you hope for the future of young artist programs? What do you want young Black artists who are coming out here, what do you want them to gain from these programs and these experiences?
Oh, y'all know I'm not scared. I've been like this since I was a kid. I am so not scared. Okay, anyway. Um, um, what do I want young Black artists to get from this? To get what they can. My dad used to say, get all you can and can all you get, right? To mine those times for every single thing you can get from it, every relationship, and don't let your pain or whatever you're going through, don't let that go to waste. You know what I mean? Like, juice it with no pulp left. You know what I mean? Like, juice the experience and get everything you possibly can out of it. And relationships, people who believe in you, your team. In the last panel, they were saying, go where you're appreciated. You need people who believe in you, who can write that email, who can talk you up to so and so, who will cast you, who, you know what I mean, who will write you a recommendation, and who will be your friends, who will take you to dinner and give you the rundown. You know what I mean? And a blessing that I have, people who don't pretend that you're not the color you are, people you don't have to pretend with. Even if you don't look the same, you can go in your lesson and say, yo, it's hard to be a Black woman today. They didn't think when they did that. Y'all need to think when you're casting. You know what I mean? People you can tell that to, and it's nothing. So I guess a place where you can be yourself in those relationships. And also, I would say, I know I'm going long. Also, I would hope that there would be a broader, just in training and educational spaces, that there is a broader sense of what it is to be an artist. So many times we are taught the technique, and we're taught the style, and we're taught all of these things, but those things can be lifeless if it's not embodied through a person. And so teaching us how to integrate our lives more, which there isn't a lot out there. So, you know, just look out. I might be doing something soon to help us on that. But yeah, girl, look out, look out. But in general, I'm hoping that the future of young artist programs includes more emphasis on the whole person and why and how we do what we do, so that we can be fuller people. And I think the art form will be better for it.
Of course, I want to piggyback off, excuse me, off of Whitney when she talked about the previous panel, going where you're wanted. And sometimes we just have to realize when we're in a specific place when it is time to leave. I recently made a major move because I was in a place where I'm like, oh, I feel like I'm not going anywhere. I feel like I'm not progressing. I'm not expanding. And boom, glory to God, bless, and him blessing me as tremendously as he has. As soon as I moved, I started getting like work during a pandemic that I just never thought would happen. So you have to know when your season or your time is up somewhere, and not be afraid to be uncomfortable and have to leave. That's also a big thing. And also Whitney talked about sitting down with people who are going to be real with you, who are going to keep it real with you. Because you can have people sit here and write you a letter of recommendations all day, but you have to do your part. So that goes back with spending time with your own voice, like Whitney said, practicing even for 15-30 minutes on a passage, like, oh, I can never get this line legato. Okay, let's work on that. Let's spend this 30 minutes on that. And so like, what I mean is, if you want somebody to go in for you, you have to be prepared to do what they said. Like if they wrote all this good stuff about you, you need to be able to, back that up as well. But yeah, I would also like to see for the future of the young artist programs, I would like to see them expand in areas that are heavily populated by Black and people of color, for the young singers, because for myself, I grew up in a small town and I did not have access to opera like some of my colleagues have. So that kind of put me at a disadvantage, that I had to work a little harder because there was just some things that I did not know. I'm from small country Missouri, you know, so there's not much opera there. So you have to find out, and that's also goes back to building those relationships with mentors, things like this with Black Women in Opera and Renee, making this space for us so that we can continue to teach, not learn and for ourselves, but also teach the upcoming generation while we can. I think that's very important.
What Whitney and Brittany said, I agree with like all of that. So I'm going to try to add something you guys didn't say. I hope for, I'm looking down at notes. I hope for like young artist programs in general that this diversity and inclusion awakening that we've just had is not a passing social trend. I think it's really important that we have diversity of all races, especially Black people, but of everybody, you know, not just singers, the directors, the conductors, like everybody from the top to the bottom, you know. It's very important because we all have, that's what's so wonderful about this country, is that, you know, we're just this big melting pot, and we really need to focus or stop focusing on the differences and focus on actually, I said that wrong. We need to celebrate the differences. That's what I was trying to say. And because our different experiences can bring so much more life to this art form. And especially now with the pandemic, we have to like save this art form. If we don't do it now when COVID is over, I really think that's it. This is the time, we gotta do it right now. So that's what I really hope, that everyone wakes up and, you know, truly believes that we just have to move forward. It can't just be the same people, the same business model. It's not going to work anymore. You know, we're all more creative than that. For young artists, I hope that in these programs they just really find themselves, and whatever that means. Like, of course, find your voice. Just work really hard. Like, really be inspired by other people. Don't compare yourself to other people. I'm saying this for myself because it's something I do a lot. And I'm realizing now, like, that's not going to work if I'm going to try to have a, you know, career. There's another thing that I've been thinking about lately. When it comes to auditioning, whether it's for, you know, a job or a gig or a competition, validation is really important. I think you don't need to look and say, well, I auditioned, you know, for Minnesota Opera and they said no, so that means I'm not a good singer. No, because number one, you have no idea. There's so many things that go into like casting and hiring. So it's not what you think. But I think that you yourself should validate yourself first. And whatever comes after that, if you get the gig, that's someone seconding your validation. I don't think I'm saying that right, but I hope you understand what I'm saying. Validate yourself first. And just this self-love and self-worth and self-care. I really hope that for everyone, because I think it will, especially during this time with the pandemic, it'll really help us have a clear mind. Yeah.
Oh, I love what everybody's saying. It's just so wonderful to hear. And I agree with Brittany. It's if you're not in the right place, if it's really not working, like, you need to give your permission, or you need to give yourself permission to leave. And I was in that situation this summer, and thank goodness, like Renee and all of them, I reached out to them in a situation that I was in, and it was for not only my safety and whatnot, but then I realized, as Christina was saying earlier today, it's like, don't attract us into these programs if you are not going to be investing the time, the energy, and all that for us, because there's no point in us going. We don't need to go to places that are not going to, you know, cultivate us and treat us like everybody else, because that is a waste of time. And we all know that there are plenty of artists like us who didn't make it because of those places. And we know that the institutions have failed us. And as Mia said, these models don't work anymore. And if the time is now, so why is it, I guess, not even necessarily it isn't hard to change, but if we're looking at some companies and, you know, they're sitting there saying like, well, we can't really change this, and you're like, but then what? Like, you just want this to die off because this is what's going to happen. Like, we have to look in the mirror now and figure out, how are we going to make this relevant? How are we going to have people come back and love this art form? And we want to see diversity across, not just in casting, but like Mia said, in every facet, because we can see as many, you know, people of color on stage, but if all of our directors are white and our conductors are white, that doesn't really change a lot of the storytelling and the perspectives that we're going to be putting on stage. So it has to change everywhere. And I wish, as Whitney said, it's like, we need to be able to have these open dialogue conversations where someone's going to be real with you and not kind of cast you off. And me being so young, I think, and of course, I have so much energy and I'm like, yes, I'm a go-getter, I'm gonna change the world and whatnot. And I had this mentality with this program I was going to be doing, and then it ended up being a huge kind of, like, they put a big brick wall in front of me and kind of used the angry black lady front on me. And it was like, and I didn't even know what to do, because I was just like, I just want to talk. Like, you know, like, we're in the midst of this pandemic. We are in the midst of a, you know, an awakening for many people about racial injustices. Like, this needs to be talked about. It can't just be thrown under the bed anymore. And I think being able to talk with so many of you ladies like before this conference, and then being able to just reach out to people that I didn't get to grow up with, because the same as Brittany, I grew up in a super small white town in Oregon and also in Canada, in British Columbia, and I wasn't surrounded by people like you. And it affected me greatly, and I didn't notice it until I got into my undergrad and realized, oh, so I'm one of the 2 Black singers in the past 7 years in the voice department. And I'm one of the 10 Black students in the drama department, because I did theater, like straight plays, and I did like opera and musicals, and realizing the toll it took throughout my undergrad of the horrible experiences, or just even the little things that have been said, and they just tally up and tally up. And this summer has been a big awakening for me in realizing that's what all of this has meant. And no wonder I am where I am today for these reasons. And I just hope that, you know, we can go to these spaces and, you know, feel safe. One, I mean, we all deserve to feel safe, but then also I hope that, you know, it wasn't until now when someone said to me, like, I said, oh, well, I'm having trouble with this program or whatever. And this person said to me, oh yeah, that program is a troubled place. And it's like, I wish I had known them before, because I could have saved myself the heartache, you know. And we need this community to vent and whatnot, but then also to be like, you know, put the red flag and be like, proceed with caution, or go over here. Over here is much more worth your time. And we've had to do that for each other. We have to play the game. And so many young artists, I think, and in my position, because I know I've done it too, we think we're like, oh, we're smart. We can kind of bypass that. And then you get in the middle of it and you realize you can't. And you do have to play by the rules. And you do have to be smart and figure out and navigate it. And I need help from, you know, women like you to be like, oh, okay, I'm going to do this, or I'm going to try this instead. So then I can save myself. I can protect my peace too, because I don't think if I don't play the game correctly, I don't think I'll make it through. And I don't think that's really fair. And I hope that we can have not only more of these conversations, but more of us won't feel like that at, like, I'm 22. I'm still really young. I still have so much to look up to, but if I'm already feeling this down right now, I'm like, I don't know if I can make it through a master's and a YAP and all that. You're kind of like, this is looking pretty daunting, and I don't know if I have the mental energy and physical energy to get through. So I really hope that we can just change course and really decide to be like, yes, as this industry and as the people, everyone within this industry, like, let's move together, because I think that will be so much more beneficial for our art form, because it's so special and it's so beautiful, and we need to keep it beautiful, because sometimes the other things are really ugly, and we kind of have to cast them off to remember that, like, what we do is really beautiful, but those can sometimes eat you up, and then it's not fun going on stage sometimes. And I don't like that. It's not fun going on stage and feeling that the weight of the world and everything else is eating up at you. And yeah, that's my piece.
I want to add something real quick, going off of what Maia said. I hope that for young artists listening to this, and for myself too, I just thought with what Maia was saying about this weight, you know, being Black, you have that weight that you have to be like twice as good. I mean, that's how I was raised, you know, to be twice as good as the next person, because people are looking at you, because there's only, you know, a couple of you around sometimes. I hope that going forward, when we feel that weight, we just remember that we're the future of this art form. Like, we really are. The people who are getting their undergrads, their masters, all of us here in this meeting, we are the future of this art form. And if we feel something, you know, if we feel like we want to add something different, do something completely out of the box, you want to take like rap and opera and you want to put it together, you have a right to do that, because, you know, this is our art form as well. It's not just the white singer's art form. It's not just the Black singer's art form. Music is for everyone. It doesn't matter who you are, you know. So I just really hope that when we feel that pressure and weight, that we just remember that we're the future, and that can fuel us, you know, forward.
Yes, most definitely. And I just love you guys so much thank y'all for coming first. Thank you, Mia. Thank you, Whitney. Thank you, Maya. Thank you, Brittany. Oh, that was like a poem.
You're a poet and you didn't even know it.
I didn't know it. I didn't know it was gonna come out like that. I like it. I love everything y'all shared. I love just being in this community and being able to uplift each other and encourage each other, and just to know that we're not alone in this journey with opera. We stand on the shoulder of giants, and we have the arms of our sisters and brothers and our siblings, you know, carrying us forward, and that is what is most important. So please share with us some information, how people can find you, what you're doing, how, well, you know, what you want us to know, and you can drop it in the chat also below. So anybody can go first.
Hi. I mean, I just don't want to waste the time. Just jump on in there. You can find me on the internet, mostly Facebook and Instagram, Whitney Morrison. If you're soprano, you can find me that way. And what's coming up next for me? I'm working on a lot of stuff, everything I can't say, but be looking out for some other media things from me. I'm working on a podcast now and a new website. So just I hope when things come out, you'll join me on the journey.
Hey guys, so on, I believe, Facebook, you can find me, Brittany Graham, and my website is brittanygraham-soprano.com. I'll drop my IG down below, but I do have a couple of things that I can't talk about either, but you'll see them on like Facebook and IG. But in the next couple of weeks, I will be doing The Mother and Hansel and Gretel. So I'm really excited about that. We're going to do it virtually, which is really cool. Yeah, so Renee, I'm sorry. I just want to say thank you. Thank you for just this whole thing, because I really believe this is what we need. Like, we need to talk about this. And I believe, like what Maia was saying, like growing up in a small town, I wish I had access to this, and wish I had access to so many singers just to ask questions. We're in a new time where we can literally just ask questions and do things like this and relay information, because sometimes we don't get the same information as our other colleagues. So it's very important for us to share the knowledge, share the wisdom to each other. So like Mia said, we're the future. So we have to not only share with each other, but we have to make and pave the way for the people coming behind us. So I want to take time to say thank you for just all of this, for bringing us all together to do something like this. This is amazing.
Yes, thank you.
I'm on Facebook, Mia Athey, and on Instagram, I'm the real Mia Athey. Long story, like I wanted to be Mia Athey, but I forgot my password for an account, so our Instagram wouldn't let me use my own name. But yes, you can find me there. Currently, Minnesota has a their virtual version of Opera in the Outfield, where they have a lot of innovative ways where they highlight the raps and other people in the company. They did show it in a baseball stadium for 2 nights, and it was great. One night was sold out, but now it's virtual. You can see it virtually until October 11th. And I have a special feature in there where I sing Go Figure from the opera Blue. And I believe it's $15, and I think you have access to it for, until the 11th. On my Instagram, I have some singing projects that I'm doing just to show people what I've been up to. That'll be coming out soon. And yeah, thank you so much, Renee, for this. This is really cool. Like, I had a really great time getting to know each of you ladies. And I'm a really big fan of yours, Whitney, as you know. I heard you sing once and I was like, oh my God, she's amazing.
That's right. I know her, I remember her. We're friends on the internet.
Right? This has been so wonderful and so inspiring. So thank you.
Yes, thank you, Renee, and everybody for organizing this and bringing us all together. It's just so lovely to see so many of us come together and love this all together. I am applying for grad school. It's very interesting doing it right now. So you can always find me on Facebook and Instagram. I'll drop the stuff below, Maia Journeau. You can tell me tips and things to do and not do, because it's a little overwhelming, but trying to hang in there. Yeah, so that's what I've been doing, just looking up and making sure everything is all peachy keen for, all the takes and making sure I have all the right rep and all that. So that's what I've been doing. But yeah, we'll see if any other projects come along. I just applied for like 2 projects and we'll see if I got them or not. But in the meantime, we'll keep busy practicing and figuring things out.
Thank y'all so much. Thank you so much for being here today. Like, it means so much to me that y'all will come and share your time with us. It's just a joy, a joy, a joy. And I am so, so grateful. Overcome with emotion. I'm a Libra, so I'm not going to cry here. I'll do that in my bedroom. Yes, Libra.
I'm a Libra too.
Happy birthday! But thank y'all so much for coming. Thank you so much. And thank you to all the participants who are here. Thank you for being here today and celebrating with us. It's also Janine DeBeck's birthday too. So thank y'all so much. It's been a pleasure and a joy to really just have a good day of information, a good day of community and fellowship, and just having a good old time. I'm a Southern woman, so I love to commune, and I just love to have just a good time with my brothers and sisters. So I appreciate you guys. I am going to be emailing everybody the information specifically from the Sparkle Twins, and I think Kiana had a PDF she wanted to share with you guys. Definitely go download the digital book. Everything that you need to know about the panelists, the sponsors, all the ads, they're clickable words and clickable images where you can just go straight to their Instagrams, websites, all that kind of information. It's all on the digital booklet. Special thank you to Brianna Sinclair for coming. Thank you so much. You did an amazing job just inspiring us. Thank you to Angel Blue. Oh my gosh. Come on, Bishop. Yes, you did such a great job just inspiring us. And thank you for sharing your time with us. Thank you to every single panelist who agreed to participate in this venture of love, this labor of love. Thank you to Kendra Beasley. Thank you to my mother for listening to me rant and let me walk around all night because I'll be worried. Thank you for her praying for me and encouraging me. Thank you to my sister, Sandy Lunica, who does a lot of things for me, and it's just a great person that I love and I care about, and she loves and cares about me and helps me along the way. Thank you to our sponsors. Thank you so much to our sponsors. And the video is going to be playing next. So you can see all of our sponsors. There's some people who are not on the list. Like Kappa was a sponsor, Kenneth Overton was a sponsor, and some other people who are not on that original list, but I'll put them on the website for sure. And I hope y'all have an amazing, amazing Saturday. Keep singing, go rest, then get to that practice room, okay? Thank y'all.